Please let the, we'll start the meeting now. Please let the record reflect that all board members are present. I do want to update the community about the Massera property. Since our last Board of Ed meeting, the board and the selected developer were unable to come to terms, and all negotiations with that developer have ceased. The board has since considered its options for moving forward and is now in negotiations with another developer who had also bid previously. After much discussion and deliberation, the board has chosen to stick with its original plan to build a 55 and over community, but we're still exploring the type of housing and other critical components. The current health crisis will undoubtedly lengthen the time needed to complete negotiations, but we will present the developer to the community in an open forum as soon as we have a finalized deal and it is safe to do so. Based on all of this, the proposition to sell the Massera property will not be on the ballot this May. We don't have a date yet, obviously, for when it will be, but it will not be this May. Once again, I thank you all for your patience and continued support, and the board will continue to communicate the plans for the future of the property as they become available. Okay, Mrs. Burns, I think you have something you wanted to say about the census?
Yes, just as more as a reminder, originally when we had planned this meeting, it was my intent to do a little presentation as it relates to the census. It's something that's very important as it affects our representation in Congress. So we are going to be reminding everyone once we get through the current circumstances of the importance, and the entire administrative staff has in fact discussed the importance and will be talking it up within each of their individual school communities. But I can't emphasize enough the importance that everyone that has received their census information in the mail this week, do sit down. It's a great civics lesson for your children. Sit down and go online and do what you can. I assume once we get through the current circumstances, there will be a big push to a push of outreach. Unfortunately, that was supposed to be in the month of April, and I think some of that has been deferred as well. But I would really appreciate, as we go out and about, once we are able to again, to remind our neighbors and our friends of the importance that everybody is accounted for. So, thank you.
It looks like this. Look, everybody.
Yep, I did mine already online. It really only takes a few minutes.
Mine's not open yet, but I'll do it tomorrow.
Okay. So this would be the usual point where we would ask if any members of the public wish to speak on an agenda item. As Mrs. Burns mentioned earlier, of course, we're not doing that tonight due to the virtual nature of the meeting, but public questions and comments will be accepted at either the superintendent's email address, wi.officeofsuperintendent@wi.k12.ny.us, or the board's address, which is boe@wi.k12.ny.us. So if you want to submit a question, we will get back to you on that. Can I have a motion for the approval of minutes of February 25th, 2020 and February 25th, 2020? So that was the planning session and the February 25th, 2020 Massera Community Forum.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, personnel. Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Ann Bean, library, effective July 1st, 2020, after 20 years of service?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement for Francis Coiro, elementary, effective July 1st, 2020, after 12 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Marie DeMarco, library, effective July 1st, 2020, after 20 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Diane Horton McGinley, speech teacher, effective July 1st, 2020, after 42 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Christopher K., psychology, effective July 1st, 2020, after 38 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Thomas McGinley, art, effective July 1st, 2020, after 43 years?
43 years. Second. God bless you.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Is that like a record? That's got to be a record.
Brian, one second on that, Brian. I think you read his name is McGinley. It's McGonagall, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Thomas McGonagall, art, effective July 1st, 2020, after 43 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Jeanette Marola, elementary, effective July 1st, 2020, after 30 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Kathleen Ryan, special education, effective July 1st, 2020, after 39 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the retirement of Robert Weiss, social studies, effective July 1st, 2020, after 17 years?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resignation of Shannon Concanon, cafeteria aide, effective March 25th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resignation of Jane Little Hug, senior office assistant, effective March 14th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of a change in title for Christine Mott from security/receptionist paraprofessional to building aide, effective March 25th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of substitute nurse Brianna Heffernan, effective March 25th, 2020?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the spring 2020 high school lacrosse coaches as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the instructional swim and family swim program lifeguards as listed on your agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the homebound instructors as listed on your agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the substitute teachers as listed on your agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the substitute teaching assistants as listed on your agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Excuse me, Mr. Geller, I'm not sure if I missed it. Perhaps Mr. Taylor, Kevin Kazda, is he still on the agenda?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. I also just want to take a second to thank all of our retirees. Obviously, a lot of years of service there and a lot of great people. And we appreciate everything that they've done for the district and the kids over these many years. So thank you. Curriculum update, Mrs. Morrison.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. The administrative team, teachers, and staff are working diligently to ensure continuity of instruction for our K-12 students. Collaboration is daily and ongoing. I have had the opportunity to sit in on several Google Hangouts over the past few days, and it's very impressive to see the work going on behind the scenes to ensure that our students are receiving the instruction that they need. As of Wednesday, March 18th, all K through 12 students were provided with daily learning experiences for their grade level and/or courses for 1 week, which ended today. As of tomorrow, all K-12 students will be provided with another 6 days of daily learning experiences for their grade level and courses. This will take us up through April 1st, at which time we will transition to a distance learning plan that would go into effect on April 2nd if necessary. For the past 2 weeks, the focus at the elementary level has been to maintain skills and prevent regression, particularly in the areas of reading, writing, and math. And the focus at the secondary level has been to maintain knowledge of course content and to introduce new curriculum when possible. Our social workers, school counselors, psychologists, and teachers and principals have been reaching out to students and parents by phone, by email, via Google Hangouts. The emotional and mental well-being of our students is our top priority. We have received a tremendous amount of positive feedback from parents and students. In regard to the outreach from staff, they are giving us some great information on how they are feeling at home, their perceptions, and we are utilizing that feedback to assist us in making future decisions. The 3 through 8 New York State ELA, math, science, and alternate assessments for students with disabilities, along with the NICETEL exams, are canceled for this school year. The IB exams are canceled for this school year. IB is currently stating that certificates and diplomas will be awarded this year based on course performance. The AP exams are scheduled to take place, albeit in a different format from previous years. The exams will be comprised of course content up until school closures in mid-March, so no new content will be assessed on the exam. Updates regarding AP and IB courses and exams will be provided to teachers, parents, and students as they become available and posted on the district website. Mrs. Burns and I have been collaborating with the WIDA leadership in regard to the distance learning plan. The plan will allow for greater interaction between students and teachers and will present new grade level and course content to students. Some highlights of the draft of the distance learning plan are: teachers will be available every day between the hours of 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. to provide clarification to students, to respond to questions and concerns. This will be done by phone, email, and virtual meetings. Teachers will interact with their students virtually on a regular basis in regard to course content and curriculum. Teachers will attend up to 2 hours of virtual meetings each week with their director or principal. Some of this time can also be utilized to support online learning experiences for our students. Discussions are ongoing in regard to how 3rd and 4th quarter grades will be determined at the secondary level and how 3rd trimester grades will be determined at the elementary level. Mrs. Dowling and Ms. Doherty are collaborating with the special education teachers, K-12, to ensure that the needs of our special education students are being addressed as effectively as possible under these circumstances. We are currently looking into virtual options for providing speech and resource room support, and planned annual review meetings will take place virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrison.
And Steve, this is Pete McCann. I just want to commend Mrs. Morrison, the administrators and the teachers on pulling this together so quickly. Obviously as a spouse of a teacher, watching the coordination with administration, the teachers, and all involved to get this together as quick as they did, and watching my 3 children initiate the program, the curriculum, has been a pleasure to watch and really a testament to the entire district. So thanks, Mrs. Morrison, the teachers, everyone involved with this process, because it was a monumentous effort that's taking place on a day-to-day basis in my house, and it's nice to witness.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCann. Yes, I think we all agree with that. It's been a Herculean effort, and we appreciate it. Okay, Mr. McGinnis, we'll discuss the meeting of the Finance Committee.
Thank you. The committee met on March 10th. Committee members present, Emery LaRosa, Paul Mahalik, and myself. Other board members in attendance, Steve Geller, Rich Antonello, Peter McCann. Administrators present, Superintendent Burns and Elisa Pilati. Others present are Deborah Falcone, the treasurer, Pat Plumpton, our internal claims auditor. The purpose of the meeting is always review the warrants for the month and discuss pertinent fiscal matters. Meeting was called to order at 8:05. We reviewed the following reports. As always, treasurer's report for school district funds and extracurricular funds for January 2020 were presented and accepted by the committee. The payroll summary report for February was presented and accepted by the committee. The financial statements for January 20th presented and accepted by the committee. The internal claims audit report and the system manager audit trail report for February 2020 were presented and accepted by the committee. Payroll certification for February 7th and February 21st were presented and accepted by the committee. The Finance Committee received the warrants for the month. We reviewed the following agenda items, the board agenda finance items. The budget transfers were presented and accepted by the committee for submission to the board. Approval of surplus equipment for miscellaneous IT and AV equipment. Approval of the 2019-2020 Cullen and Danowski engagement letter and the agreed upon procedures for purchasing. Approval of the resolutions for acceptance of the internal risk assessment report from Cullen and Danowski and the corrective action plan dated January 21st, 2020. Acceptance of the single audit report from R.S. Abrams and related corrective action plan for the year ended June 30th, 2019. Approval of the 2019-2020 following special education contracts for Dr. Rebecca Fontanetta at Fontanetta Neuropsychology and Smithtown Central School District. Approval of 2019-2020 health service contracts for Smithtown Central School District for $3,070.95 and Syosset for $5,091.20. We discussed the approval of the ASCUS lease effective September 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2025, and approval of the following change orders. Change order number 1 for Eldor, for Manitowoc Beach, Ural, and the high school. And the meeting was adjourned at 8:25.
Thank you, Mr. McGinnis.
You're welcome.
And Mr. Mahalik, who can be heard but not seen, will discuss the meeting of the Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Buildings and Grounds met on March 10th, 2020 at around 8 p.m. at the district office. Members in attendance are Mr. McGinnis, Mrs. LaRosa, myself, Bernadette Burns, Lisa Pilati, James Posse. Others in attendance are Ms. Antonella, Mr. Geller, and Mr. McCann, and Mr. Mazzaferro from the ECG Group. First order of business was the PV solar project. A representative from the ECG Group presented the results of its review and analysis proposals from Johnson Controls and Oresco. The board requested additional information that helped inform the process of choosing a vendor. The bond update. Mr. Bonsi gave an update as to the status of the bond projects currently underway, including the high school facade and vestibule. Phase 5 bond projects have all been approved by SCD. The bidding process will commence shortly, and work will commence this summer. An adjustment may be made to the state aid reimbursement on the recarpeting of the turf field, since the district is seeking to replace the turf before the state's timetable for suggested useful life. West Islip Soccer Club. During the fall and spring sessions, the district athletic groups are using the stadium turf field later into the evening due to the installation of the turf lights. The soccer club has requested to add mobile lights to another location to ensure field access to the youth teams in the evening when necessary. The use of Udall for this purpose will be explored. Also, the club has requested to add another storage container at Udall. Mr. Bossi will review the feasibility of adding another container at this site. Miss Sarah maintenance. The Sarah will be regularly but minimally maintained. Grounds will continue to be mowed at the same rate as other district facilities. Building cleaning protocols. Due to the threat of the coronavirus and other flu-like illnesses, the importance of maintaining high cleaning standards are reinforced with the custodial staff. Willets Creek remediation. The DEC Willets Creek project is approaching completion. Remaining jobs include site work, fencing, paving repairs, and parking lot repaving. Fire code inspections. Compliance inspections will be conducted at all buildings during the week of March 16th. Committee adjourned to executive session at 9:50 and reconvened at 10:10. And that's when our meeting adjourned at 10:10. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Mr. Mahalik.
You got it.
Mr. Compatello will discuss the meeting of the Special Education Committee.
Okay, the Special Education Committee met on 0800 on the 12th of March at District Office. Members present were Ms. Dowling, Ms. Morrison, Mr. McGinnis, and myself. We discussed the various special education opportunities for students throughout the district, and we discussed that many things going on in high school. There's a lot of reviews going on, special education reviews, and that was about it, and it ended about 8:30.
Thank you, Mr. Compatello. And back to Mr. Mahalik to discuss the Health and Wellness Committee meeting.
Good evening again. The Health and Wellness Alliance met on Tuesday, March 10th, 2020 at 9:30 in the morning. Members present were Mr. Haran, Sharon Kerrigan, Rhonda Pratt, Lynn Summers, myself, Richard McKay, Michelle Alessi, Michelle Wilson, Nicole Perperis, Ariana Stubman, Francesca Emma, and Barbara Henke. We first went over our financial report, and we talked about the 5th and 6th grade volleyball tournament that took place. It was the best participation in years, and fun was had by all. Our newsletter was completed in February and sent out by the end of February. The March into Wellness Family Connect Night. School messages sent emails and sent to the K-8 community. Numerous prizes were going to be available for participants. The 2020 Color Run. The committee were exploring a date for next year. 2020 Health and Wellness Scholarships. Applications can be found on the website and has a submission deadline of May 5th. New and old business. Cybersecurity, we're considering another presentation to the community. Wait Till 8 campaign, which is something that we're going to hopefully start up. This is to get children to start getting cell phones, not at the end of middle school, but when they get to the high school at 8th grade. The census submissions, we're going to try and encourage that everyone does that. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 14th at 9:30 a.m. in the cafeteria of Paul J. Ballou, and our meeting ended at 10:30 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahalik. And Mr. Compatello, I know you had a meeting with the Udall students, so if you would share a little bit about that, please.
Can do. Evening. Again, at 07:30 on the 27th of February, Mr. Mahalik and myself met with the student council members of Udall, along with the faculty advisors and Dr. Marquardt. We discussed what they thought the function of the school board was and what our budget was. They didn't know, but it was interesting. The kids then introduced themselves and told us what they had been doing for the past several months. In September, they held elections. They sold raffle tickets. They had car wash. They raised money. In November, they had a food drive for 4 Udall families. The excess money they gave to 3 overflow families. Okay, and they started a beautification club. In December, they had a giving tree. They raised a couple $1,000s for 6 in-house Udall families. They participated in the Red Ribbon Escape from Drugs program. In January, there's a volleyball tournament with the Gold Star Girl Scouts, and they raised about $1,000 for ill children. In March, they were going to have a combined dance with Beach Street and Udall. Okay, and overall, I was impressed with these kids. They were, as a naval officer, we're taught my shipmate, myself, and put others first. These kids put others first. Udall should be proud of the way these kids are coming out. And thank you, and that's about it.
Thank you, Mr. Costello. That all sounded pretty awesome. Okay, Mrs. LaRosa will discuss the policy committee.
Okay, the policy committee met, and tonight I believe we are having the second reading for policy number, I don't have it in front of me, Mr. Geller. What number is it?
4212.
4212.
Table of organization.
Okay.
7470, which is student voter pre-registration. And 7516, which is health and wellness.
Okay, so tonight we are having the second reading for those policies, and after this reading, they will be adopted by the Board of Education.
Okay, can I have a motion for the approval of the 3 policies mentioned?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. LaRosa.
You're welcome.
And Mrs. Pilati will present financial matters and business items.
Thank you, Mr. Geller. Our treasurer's report for the month of January had a beginning of the month balance of $25,316,608.32. The ending balance was $61,287,196.37. May I have a motion for the approval of budget transfers 3811 through 3827 for the A fund and 3813 through 3822 for the capital fund?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the resolution for the acceptance of the internal risk assessment report from Cullen and Danowski, our internal auditors, and the related corrective action plan?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the acceptance of the single audit report from R.S. Abrams, our external auditors, and the related corrective action plan for June 30th, 2019?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the 2019-20 contracts as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of miscellaneous surplus IT and AV equipment?
So moved.
Can I have a second,
Second.
please?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the 2019-20 health services contracts for Smithtown and Syosset Central School Districts?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the change orders as listed on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
May I have a motion for the approval of the 2019-20 engagement letter from Cullen and Danowski, our internal auditors, for their agreed upon procedures in the area of purchasing?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Pilati. Okay, can I have a motion for the approval of the Ask Us lease agreement? It's contained in your
So
backup.
moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for the approval of the resolution regarding the withdrawal of due process complaint as contained in your backup?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I have a motion for the approval of the notice of public hearing, budget vote, and election of the West Islip UFSD dated March 19, 2020, including the propositions, terms, dates, and provisions set forth therein?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And not on your agenda, but can I have a motion for a resolution? I'll read it. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the West Islip Union Free School District hereby ratifies the, nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. All right, never mind. Ms. Burns, you're muted.
Sure, I'll read it, Mr. Geller.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the West Islip Union Free School District hereby authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to execute an agreement between the district and Scope Education Services pursuant to the Governor of New York's Executive Order 202.4. That relates to the child care services.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Can you give us details on that contract, please? I don't have it in front of me.
Yes, basically, the governor's executive order required school districts to engage in a district learning plan, a child care plan, and a food service plan, all of which we are in putting them in place at this time. It requires that school districts provide child care service for the children of healthcare workers and first responders. And Scope Education Services provides these services on a regular basis, countywide, actually island-wide. And they have been working with the county, both Nassau and Suffolk counties, to put something in place across the island in the most cost-effective way possible. But also to, although the basic policies have been relaxed to ensure that we make it in as safe and secure an environment as possible for our kids. So I'm recommending that we opt into this service. It would be much more cost effective than trying to put something in place ourselves.
So there was a relaxation on the law that prevents school districts from paying for childcare in order to make this contract happen?
Yes, Mr. Bowles, could you comment on that?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, Tom. I didn't know you were
Okay,
here.
all right.
Hello there.
He wouldn't miss us.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're here because I have lots of questions, so go.
So I've been involved in discussions at the state level regarding the provision of these services and discussing with a representative from the governor's office of getting an executive order to that effect. We have, they've communicated back to the counties an assurance that that's coming as part of this process. The executive order itself is quite general in its directive to schools to participate in the child care. So we've worked through that process and put Scope step into that spot to provide it for the districts. And I'm recommending you move forward on that basis.
Sure. Can you just speak to how much it will cost us and how we're going to fund that, Mrs. Burns?
It's going to cost us no more than $750 a week. It depends on how long this goes on, and I guess
$750 a week for unlimited number of children. We can send how many we want there, or
that's my understanding, Tom. I'm just pulling up the contract now, actually.
and how do we let people know that this is available? Other than the governor put it in his law, like how are we publicizing that?
So we are putting up more information on our website tomorrow as far as all of the resources that are available to families, whether it is this, whether it's related to our food service, whether it's related to mental health resources, and there will be an extensive FAQs posted as well. So we plan on sending all of this, posting the information, and then sending it out via school messenger as we have all of our other alerts.
And will Scope care for all age children, like infant through elementary, or is this just going to be an elementary school kind of program?
My understanding is that the requirement is for school-age students, and those are the children that are being targeted, unless,
Oh,
Tom, you have
okay.
different information?
So that's the governor's kind of his law was school age kids.
His law, can I jump in for a second?
Absolutely,
Yes.
please, yes.
His law was for the children with an emphasis on the children of first responders and medical personnel. So depending upon need, that has to be a priority in delivering this service. So I believe Scope is going to have to monitor how the kids are coming in to ensure that they're complying with the governor's order. It's got to be with emphasis on those categories.
But as far as the ages go, Tom, that's what I'm curious about. Is Scope just targeting K through 6 or 7 or what have you? Is that?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. So the governor's orders did not speak to children who are younger than that. So for first responders, the school districts are not required to provide child care for children who are younger than, say, kindergarten.
The governor's order really didn't provide any detail at all. It simply said schools should be involved in in the delivery of meals, the delivery of instruction, and child care, and left it at that. Mm-hmm. So there really was no direction from the governor's office as to what that was to mean. The state education department is receiving and approving plans initially from the counties and secondarily from the school districts. So it's really in the hands of the state education department to determine the extent to which the plans will be approved.
Okay, so $750 a week for as long as this goes on. And that's an unlimited number of children we can send. So if we send 20 kids, 30 kids, it doesn't matter. It's $750 per week.
That is my understanding, yes. That's, I'm just looking, yes, not to exceed $750 a week, yes. It's an increase in our membership fee.
Ah, okay.
But they have to go to one of those schools listed, or to one of those towns listed, right?
In one of those, yes, in one of those areas that are listed. But the parents can theoretically, if they work out near Stony Brook, they can choose a site out there. If they're going into the
Let
city.
me ask you something. Okay, I mean, I guess that doesn't matter. I'm just curious to know, if you have 500 students show up at one location one day, what are they going to do? Like, how is
what
that?
it's worth, Emery, for what it's worth, some of the feedback that I've gotten from Scope is that while they're available and ready to respond, they're not sure that there's going to be a great deal of interest in placing kids in these locations. So many of the parents are home with those children now.
Yeah.
They're involved in their distance learning, et cetera. So the comment that I heard several days ago was that there were 800 slots and 15 of them were filled. So I don't think that Scope is concerned about not being able to handle the demand.
So basically, we will put up on the website to contact Scope and see where they can accommodate you, and then Scope will take it from there.
That is correct.
Okay. And the Scope will not charge any parents for this.
That is
service at
correct.
all.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Okay. Good job, Tom. I know you worked hard on that. That was an important piece for people.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Okay, Mrs. Burns.
Okay. Did we vote on that?
Oh, we have
Oh,
already.
wait,
Okay, just wanna
one
make
more
sure.
question. Did every school district opt into that on Long Island or not everybody?
I'm not privy to that information, Amory. I don't know. Yeah, at some point, I guess that will be,
Just curious.
information, but yep.
Yes,
I'm
it
curious
was
like a
voted
cat,
on.
you know me.
It was voted on.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Taylor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mrs. Burns.
Okay, so typically I'd be sharing some good news about upcoming events and activities. And I thought I would be talking about how amazing our play was, but unfortunately that is not the case tonight. My colleagues and I have been in regular contact with the county executive and state officials, but there is very little new information to share at this point. Superintendents across the state have a virtual meeting with the Commissioner of Education this week. And hopefully that will shed some light on some of the unresolved issues, including, but certainly not limited to, how long schools will be closed, our budget votes and trustee elections, and tax collections, which Mr. Geller had referenced earlier this evening. The long-term outlook for the budget is not optimistic, but we move forward because our students deserve us to stay focused on the future while we deal with the current state of affairs. We continue to post updates on the district website, and we are, as I mentioned, coordinating a page for frequently asked questions about issues related to the school closures. One item of note, we have been encouraging people to take advantage of the good weather when we have it and enjoy the spring sunshine, but to do so at least 6 feet from each other, which is the guidance, and only if well. The district's outdoor facilities are open at present, but all basketball courts and playgrounds are closed. Despite numerous entreaties by the governor, the county executive, and the district, many students and residents last weekend did not abide by the directive to limit activities in which contact may occur. And our security staff tried to be very proactive in that regard, but it was difficult at best. So we're hopeful that recent news reports will incentivize people to cooperate for the good of all. And I do wish everyone good health. Our community is strong, and this too shall pass. And my final comment is about our retirees. It's unfortunate that it is a virtual meeting. Oftentimes they come to those meetings and we're able to recognize them. Among those 9 retirees, there are over 250 years of service, and I had the privilege to serve as a teacher with some of them, and we are really losing some amazing people. So congratulations to all of them. We wish them much good health in their retirement. Thank you, Mr. Geller.
Thank you, Mrs. Burns. Before we go to executive session, just want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I know that there are members of our community that have been hit by COVID-19, and our thoughts and prayers are with you. We hope you all recover quickly. And, you know, as Mrs. Burns says, everybody be careful, be safe, and we hope to see you all again at a board meeting very soon. With that in mind, can I have a motion to adjourn to executive session where the board will discuss personnel, negotiations, and litigation. At the conclusion of executive session, the board will reconvene to public session or virtual public session where we may consider any items for which a vote is required.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. Good night. Motion to approve the resolution as discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, can I have a motion to end the meeting?
A motion to
Or go
log
home,
off.
as I usually say.
A motion to log off.
Yeah,
So moved.
motion to turn the power off.
A motion to go do the dinner dishes.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Opposed?
everyone,
Motion carries.
be safe.
Okay.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you
Yeah.
all.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Well.
Be safe.